We want to take a closer look at the talks between President Obama and Prime Minister Netanyahu and the issues involved. We are joined here once again by Daniel Levy. He's a senior fellow and co-director of the Middle East Task Force of the New America Foundation. Daniel, nice to have you back. What do you think the headline is out of today's meeting?
Well, I think in a very smart way, the American president created an expectation of the Israeli prime minister. He said, you can be a historic leader. We can reshape the region. Get on board. I think the Israeli prime minister did not respond in kind, not so far at least, but I think this is a beginning. And you saw a president on top of his brief, on top of his game, articulating that he wanted to move forward and see progress, setting out some specifics. More of the specifics will come later.
There was some speculation that Prime Minister Netanyahu might actually utter the words two-state solution. He did not.
Indeed, the Israeli press was going back and forward on this. His defense minister and the president of Israel both suggested that Prime Minister Netanyahu would say the words. It seems now that they were trying to influence the prime minister rather than reflecting the prime minister. I'm afraid what we got was some rather old wine and some rather stale wine trying to be put in new bottles. I don't think anyone's going to buy these damaged goods, that there are preconditions that the Palestinians can govern themselves, but this isn't going to be a state. I think here that the prime minister is going to have a problem. I think the American president spoke 3 times about the Israeli interest and very clearly said, I'm going to have an opinion as to what the Israeli interest is, and I'm not going to be scared to speak to your public if you're not going to say the words yourself.
When that meeting ended, President Obama talked first and at length about Iran and said that there has to be a clear timetable for Iran to respond to U.S. overtures. What do you make of all that?
Well, I think first of all, we heard President Obama say, 1, no artificial deadlines. We heard President Obama say, after 30 years, you can't expect things to change in just a few months. You also heard him say that the previous policies of not engaging have clearly failed. What you also heard him say is that at the end of the year, we'll have a sense of where we're going. But I think there was pushback against the idea of deadlines, and there was a very clear articulation of a position that progress on the Palestinian track will make things easier on the Iranian track. It will change the regional atmosphere. It will allow allies to get on board. So I think you had a quite robust defense of President Obama's engagement policy here.
Prime Minister Netanyahu talked about resuming negotiations with the Palestinians immediately, but said an agreement's contingent on the acceptance of Israel as a Jewish state. What's the significance of that?
Well, I think it's important for me that Israel be a democratic and Jewish state that grants equal rights to all its citizens. It's important for many people. That can't be a precondition for negotiations or even for a deal. Israel made peace with Egypt, made peace with Jordan without that explicit kind of recognition. It's up to Israel to define what kind of a country Israel is, not up to its neighbors. But it's a line we have heard from Prime Minister Netanyahu, and I'm sure that if that's the sticking point, one will find a linguistic formulation. I don't think it is the sticking point. It sounded a lot like excuses, unfortunately, and finding pretexts to a lot of people, and I don't think those are going to work on this occasion.
Daniel Levy, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.